Black Magic Sorcerer back with another video, and Necalah being the subject at hand. I looked at the information and then just drew from memory the sigil and pricked my finger very quickly. I just wanted to also, while I was thinking about the importance of this item here, because I was looking all over for it, it occurred to me just how excellent of a thing this is for a magician. Now, I hate needles and I hate blood, but I could barely feel that prick because the needle is so sharp, and look at how much blood that produced. So why am I saying this? Because this is safe, it's not going to give you an infection, you can change out the needles every couple pricks, it'll always be sharp, you'll always get a lot of blood, and use common sense. Don't use knives and shit to cut the shit out of yourself, that's stupid. You're not going to look any cooler with scars all over your body, but that's a whole other subject. I just wanted to say, if you're going to do blood sacrifice, you know, do it in a surgical, medical way, not in a stupid, take a stupid risk way. I know S. Connolly made a video discussing the exact subject, and she said, you know, her sister used to, I think, use a razor for her sacrifices, and she ended up cutting through a tendon in her hand, and then one of her fingers or one of, part of her hand is fucked up. So that always left me with, okay, better to just use the damn lancet. If you get different ones, just that probe at different depths, you can really prick your thumb deep and get a lot. And you can also use it on different parts of your body. There's a whole system of drawing blood from different parts of your body where the chakras are, that is kind of a blood magic thing in itself. And there you go, another chapter of a book right there. So I digress, because if there's one thing about this damn spirit that I can't deny, is how drained and how hard it is to process. It's almost like in the presence of this weighty spirit, it's a bit like if you've been intoxicated where you just feel like, I don't know, you just took a hit off a J or something. You just feel a little not very mindful, easily distracted is the energy I get from it. Like, as far as focusing on it, it's a bit like trying to focus on, what would a good example be? Like trying to focus on a hummingbird for a picture. It's right there, but you'll never be able to catch it. You know what I'm saying? So, as we move through these cards, in position one, we had the Tower. And I think that what this is really pointing to is the fact that as magicians, we have done some destruction. And it's time to turn away from the revenge and destruction for a moment and perhaps look at other methods. So it's so easy to get stuck in doing the same thing. I may go for a period where I don't use any blood in magic. None. Zero sacrifice. It all has to do with my fill, and the reason I like to do an invocation right before reading is because then I feel like you're having a conversation with the spirit and it's showing you through these cards. So if I lay down additional cards, it's to resolve that card, meaning I don't understand or tell me more. Three of Cups, so you pull out another card and it's resolved by, or you ask another question based on that card. There's another little tip du jour. So, yes, I chant Necalah. I picture the symbol in my mind. I picture I see like, kind of like a dark pit. This pit is swirling with sort of a fire orange energy that's a bit like lava, but also filled with indescribable objects. That's just what I'm getting from that. It's as if we are gazing into an abyss, and then if you put your mind into that abyss, you'll immediately conjure a monster of whatever you're thinking about. It's a bit like Harry Potter when, in that one episode in the movie where they are dealing with the Dementors and they're practicing, and every student that's afraid, every one of their fears manifests through that spirit. This is a spirit that I think is meant to test you. It's a bit like saying, I'm going to try to sneak across this area where there is a pack of lions without waking them up and getting killed. It's that feeling like, oh shit, I've got to be careful. That's kind of what I get, but then I also feel like that I need to fight towards that feeling. I feel like I need to push that energy away, not away, but push through it, like as if the energy is so dense that I somehow need to penetrate it, almost like with an astral weapon or with fire or something, to just fucking peel back this curtain of darkness so I can see what's really fucking there. That's how I feel about that. Thanks, Necalah. Magic. The funny thing about magic is everyone that wants to be into magic, I've noticed, it's like, it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's actually, it can be very disturbing. And speaking for only myself and maybe a couple of other people that I know I'm very close to who practice magic and have their whole life, they will tell you it is a curse and a blessing. I find it fascinating that in my reading we had so many cards that were similar, if not identical. So one of the things we talked about was just that whole being distracted and a little bit of paranoid fear, a little bit of delusion. It's a bit like getting caught up in an emotional tide that's going to pull you out, and if you aren't careful. So there's something about the energy of the moon pulling towards those swords. It's really just a warning that, hey, if you don't look out, there are spiky swords outside that window. So let me see if I can remember, because I memorize meanings, but not for every single card, and I've had my deck for a while now, so I kind of know, but I always like to go back and just look, because let's face it, I'm not getting any younger. So the Inquirer, present day, Tower, past influence. This is great because this means we're going to be moving away from this kind of paranoid, I don't even know if paranoid is the right word, but distracting energy. You know, it just occurred to me, last week was a full moon where I'm at, and it was full going into total dark moon. There's something about that transition that has a direct effect on my magical being. I don't know why that is such a powerful thing. When the moon is full, then goes to total darkness, I can feel that somehow. So moving away from paranoia and destruction, because as magicians we have cursed, we have fucked people up, we have banished people, we have tore people a new asshole with our magical power, but now we've got to move on. So in position 3, subconscious influence, underlining forces in the Inquirer's mind as well as yours. Dreams. One moment. And this card in this position, position 3, what we're really going to look at is, what is this burden? What is this subconscious burden that's basically plaguing both of us, yet at the same time we find it inspiring? So your dreams, your subconscious. Why is that important? I don't know. We carry around and I think you mentioned it, we carry around a lot of baggage and a lot of heavy weighted, I don't want to say heavy weighted, but like kind of like someone that hoards emotions, like people that like to hoard objects or whatever. You hoard it to the point where you want to throw it away, but then right when you go to chuck it, you look at the situation and go, no, I want to hold on to it. And before you know it, you just got a big pile of stuff to carry around again. But with that in mind, you have the ability to carry it around. It's not too much of a load. It's just a little reminder, for whatever reason, you're carrying a pretty big load. And the full moon did remind me of last week's moon. So this card, the Knight of Cups. One moment. Secret desires and wishes in position 4 yields none other than the Knight of Cups. So, Knight of Cups. Romantic ideals. It's sort of a refreshing thing when someone rolls along, kind of like a knight in shining armor, and they have this cup to offer with new ideas, new inspiration, things you maybe not have thought of before, and vice versa. That's the wonderful thing about a true magical partnership. Edward Kelly and John Dee had the most intense magical partnership probably in occult history. And if you look at the documents that they collected and what they were about, those were probably two of the most hardcore magicians that have ever lived. And definitely practiced some serious black magic. So, yeah, inspiration coming from a very heartfelt place. And ironically, that is right next to this card, which we all know too well as the Heartbreak card. And what is that all about? Hidden desires. In the hidden desires position, a card like this sort of sheds light on what happens when we don't fulfill a hidden desire. And if that hidden desire cannot be fulfilled and you struggle to fulfill it, the result is a broken heart, because your desires are important too. Falling in love and being in love is one thing, but desire, the desire to acquire something, the desire to know hidden knowledge, the desire to overcome, to push past that boundary where you say, you know, I'm going to go for a fucking hike today and I'm not coming back until I can't walk, you know, doing fucking push-ups and pull-ups till you can't stand it. I mean, the simplest thing can be made into a horribly hardcore chore to make you more hardcore, but a lot of internal magic needs to be done on top of the physical magic. So I like physical stuff. I like to move around in the magical space. I like to do all the theatrics with incense and candles and powerful evocations, even in different languages at times. It's just kind of nice. So as magicians, we're used to doing a very physical thing. I think the message I'm really getting is, don't get caught up in thinking that these physical things are that important in magic. I'm thinking that what this is saying is, don't be heartbroken if using the old methods don't get you where you want to go, because that's where this is what you'll end up with if we don't change our ways, so to speak. And the cards after that are going to explain more, I think. This card always comes up, and when it does, it usually represents a very specific person in my life anyway. So I'm not sure if that's the same for you, but for me, it definitely is like, hello, okay, you're here again. What's up with this now? I love this card. There's something about it. I want to look her up real quick, so one moment. This card I believe, is actually a representation of you in particular. And the reason I say that is because I always thought it meant someone else, and now I'm seeing that it is you. I'm feeling that it is you anyway. Queen of Wands. It's just all about confidence, and it's all about, well, you know, being a queen. And I see the red hair, and I think, wait a minute, my mentor does have red hair, or did. And that's wonderful. So I think that's a great card for you. It actually shows a lot of your traits. It shows the pride, the beauty, the bare feet touching the ground, the need to be grounded. That's definitely something that you do a lot, is the having that urge. Reiki people like to walk around barefoot because it's a very grounding thing for Reiki people. It just completely cleans your energy if you cycle it through the earth. So, you know, this is a powerful person with a lot to offer, a lot of spunk, a lot of attitude, mature and grounded. So in the events yet to come section, I think this is also a message for me that we're going to probably have a revelation of some sort that will perhaps make things between us more intense in what we're trying to achieve. Because I feel like there's a lot of really, really powerful energy available that isn't being tapped into, either because we're missing it or because we're not on the same page with the spirits as far as what it is they want from us to be able to do a more powerful manifestation. And I think that that's the question that I'm having, is what must we do to go further? So in position 7, and I know I'm doing this backwards, but in position 7, the World, another could be good, could be bad card. A lot of these cards have really total double meanings, which is kind of strange that we both had that kind of scenario. The World. And in position 7, we're going for surrounding environment. Well, I think this is a great environment card, because I think what it really shows is a lot of balance. You know, this creature, this mermaid-looking creature, is surrounded by the Ouroboros at the top, which is a snake swallowing itself. It represents eternity and a cycle. And the cycle of nature, the moon, when things happen, there seems to be a, when I do something, you should do something, etc., kind of a thing coming to me. And I'll think more about that as we go. In position 7, we're going to see the world in this way. The one thing I don't think really think about too much in regards to the world around us is we don't quite grasp just how powerful going through your normal day in life is to the subconscious mind. There's so much information being shown, that's being absorbed, that is being overlooked, that is a treasure we need to dig for. There's just so much. That's what I'm getting, is this vastness that we are on the verge of, like two people who are digging for gold, and you've got 2 feet, 3 feet left, and then when you finally get through that rock hard, almost like granite style, super thick, super hardcore boulder thick rock. Once we get through that, at the bottom of that is an infinite well of gold. That's the channel I just turned to. The world offers so much to us because we have the ability to create opportunities, but we also have the ability to fuck opportunities up. And a lot of times when we're focused on the lost opportunity, we're not focusing on the other opportunities that we aren't even aware that we have. And that's why magic always gives me so much hope, is we live in a world that's so unbelievably vast, unbelievably full of inspiration and different ways to manifest the things you need in life. Not to mention ascending up or down or whatever it is you want to achieve with magic. But what's around you is either holding you back or moving you forward. So I think it's a card saying, just take note of that. What's going on in your physical surroundings that is having an effect on you, that's keeping us from breaking this. I keep wanting to break it. Like, it's like we're in you probably know what I mean. It's like a feeling like we got to run forward, but there's something in the way, so we just have to figure out how to get this thing out of the way. That's what I keep feeling. That's the honest to God truth. And it's a very strange feeling. So we're going to move ahead to position 8. Damn. Influence of others. Excellent card. I keep getting this card almost every single reading in a different position. I think what this is really showing, because it's in position 8, is if you get with the right people and you're of the right mentality, not dark, not tripping, positive attitude, okay, we're willing to get knocked down, we're willing to get beat up, we're willing to be told no a few times, but we're not going to stop until we get those yeses, and we aren't going to stop until this project is done. Because, like you said, when the chariot starts, it doesn't stop. It plows over everything in its path to achieve that goal. Keep your eyes peeled for an individual of this description. I don't know why I feel compelled to focus on this individual. The red color, the possibility of this individual maybe being of a darker race. I don't know. It's just something that I picked up on. But the celebration of 3, obviously this card is a trip, because what it's really showing is, hooray, we got out of this fish that was going to eat us, and life is great. So, excellent card. Excellent energy in that card. The Devil. Would you believe today, when I came over to this area, the Devil card happened to be laying on the floor. Doesn't get better than that. Position 9. The Devil. To have the Devil in position 9 is a really interesting position to be in, actually, in my opinion. So, spiritual forces, don't we know it? You know, it's one thing to be influenced by the devil. It's another thing to command the forces of darkness, to be the one that's behind that chariot that's being pulled by these fucking ferocious dogs from hell, the hellhounds. You know, we have bound and subjugated enough spirits and have enough power, internal and external, and enough friends and enough access and enough wealth to way more than achieve what we need to achieve. It's kind of like if you brought someone who's a major league ball player to a kid's baseball game and then wondered why they're hitting them out of the park. That's the kind of energy we have, because we have friends in dark places, and that's just a fact. And we're bad motherfuckers on top of it. Let's face it. It's okay to be confident. Fuck it, we've earned it. I think so. The Moon. I always get a little worried when I see this card, because to me the moon represents a lot of shit, but it represents chaos. And the moon sphere, obviously. For it to be in the finishing position, that's the part that really kind of throws me off. I feel like if it's in position 10 and this is the outcome, and this is right next to the devil, it can only mean one thing. And what I think that is kind of implying, especially when they're side by side like that, because you have influence, then you have the outcome. And the devil's back as he turned to the moon, but he's dancing on this burning fireball with delight as the earth beneath him is incinerated. So the forces of the night, the forces of darkness, and the forces of evil, that is essentially, if you think about crossing the abyss and you think about your worst fears and your worst nightmares and the most hideous parts of our darkest elements, that is the most annoying buzzer for a dryer I've ever heard in my life. God. This is an interesting spread. Very interesting. That's all I can say. And because it's deeply implanted and related to this, I think there's something going on here. And what I think that means is a combination of forces, like not just the forces of darkness and the forces of chaos and madness that the moon can offer, but also that not supremely evil for evil's sake evil, but the devil that sort of whispers in your ear and tells you, it's okay, go a little bit further. Or the devil whispers in your ear and he says, it's okay, but you need to do your ritual at a different time of day and you'll get better results. Sometimes I think the devil's in the details, and maybe sometimes we overlook that. My apologies, I absolutely could not take it. I had to turn off the horrible device that was making that noise, the dryer. What I was going to say before we were so rudely interrupted by that loud thing was, I think that a lot of times, just in general, when you're out in the world and you're happy, you got something going on, you're celebrating with friends, whatever, you get caught up in things that maybe aren't bad to be caught up in, but I noticed that I find myself like a little child being easily distracted or kind of just thrown off my game completely thrown off my game. Like, I can't believe I forgot to fucking do the ritual tonight kind of energy, you know? For a dedicated black magician, there is no excuse. So it must be the influence of that thing we're calling Necalah and the conglomeration of spirits that it is. But to have yielded these two cards, what it really says to me is, yes, guys, you made contact. We're here. Now what the fuck we gonna do? That's the kind of energy I'm getting from it. It's more like, heed these warnings, consider these things. These are the outcome. Now take these powers and create, push forward, use calculated and very potent energy. Use energy from sources that you wouldn't normally use. So for example, today I use sexual energy, which is something I rarely do. With the power of the orgasm is extremely powerful. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all that I can see is really going on here, is that there's just, it's kind of like, the only thing I can relate it to is playing like a guitar. You know, you're a guitar player too. You understand there are times when you look at the guitar and you say, I can't wait to play you. And there are other times when you look at the guitar and you go, yeah, I'm not really feeling it today. But to be stuck in the I'm not feeling it moment, and I hate to use Crowley as an example because I think he's used too much sometimes, but best book, best thing I've ever read out of his collection is The Diary of a Magician, or The Magician's Diary, or something like that. But basically, it's three people that are engaged in hardcore meditations and the hell that it is to just do magic. People don't realize what it's like to run around on an empty stomach while you're trying to work an 8-hour job. Perhaps you have been sleep deprived. Perhaps you have been food deprived. Perhaps you have been sex deprived. And we carry with us that burden of that sacrifice. So there is times when you got to say, okay, it's time to take a break, replan, and then go back in there and trudge forward once again. Because one thing I think that the spirits really try to instill into us is it's only going to get harder, but the rewards are going to be great for committing to the work. And I think that's the hardest part of being a human being that's a reincarnated God, or having the realization that you have God inside of you and that you can make these changes, is that we just can't see past ourselves sometimes for the simplest things. I mean, social anxiety, the inability to want to be around or interact with people is so common. But I think for witches and people that practice magic, most of us don't really tolerate people very well. That's one thing I've definitely noticed is among everyone that practices, we like our alone time, and we like to be around a select few of very close friends or loved ones and people we trust. We have lots of friends, acquaintances, people we speak to, talk to, but obviously on a personal level, we are very guarded about who we let into our life and let in on our personal beliefs and our gifts. Because let's face it, if you're friends with a black magician, you definitely are, you definitely have a friend indeed, is the way that I would say it. And for us to be in a situation now, thank God for the internet, where we can connect with each other, is just wonderful to have found individuals, so many who do think the same way that we do. It's a blessing, I think, that we can never overvalue. It's a very strange time we're living in for people that practice magic. It's strange. I feel like we're moving towards something very quickly, and I don't know what it is. But I'm so curious about what this block is and what Necalah will suggest that we do to break through it. And before I go any further, I just want to say I love you guys. Shout out to my amazing, beautiful, so lucky to know mentor. And I just want to say the whole experience is really is transformative for me, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you everyone for your subscriptions and dark blessings. I will be back with another video about this very subject very soon.